Welcome back to Roaming with Restless Women. Today I have with me, I'm really excited. I have a new author. She may not be new in the authoring world, but she's new to me. Kristina Lucia Pezza. Kristina Lucia is an artist and she's a creator and a bestseller of children's books. She merges her corporate background, artistic passion, and entrepreneurial spirit into a brand that's helping families deepen communication and spark imagination. Her company, Curated Creations of Kristina Lucia, features heartwarming storybooks and limited edition handcrafted animals that serve as bridges between kids, parents, and meaningful dialogue. Kristina transitioned from a fast-paced corporate career to building her creative business after an injury prompted her to reimagine her path. She now brings a unique blend of storytelling, visual art, tactile craft, and entrepreneurial insight to audiences of parents, educators, and creative professionals alike. Welcome, Christine. I can't wait to hear your story.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's really an honor.
Oh, that's great. Well, let me start out then by asking you, tell me about your story. How did you get from a corporate busy career, and what were you doing, to where you are now?
So the irony is I was always an artist. I was what you call the black sheep of my family of origin. And my parents didn't know quite what to do with me. My father is a medical engineer. My mother was a school teacher. And both of them have a very structural procedure thought process. And I'm
Mm.
the flower child, the overly creative one. And I honestly don't think they knew what to do with it. And I have this clear memory of being in my art teacher's kitchen about around 7 years old and seeing my art, my current art at that time that I had from like kindergarten or like whatever. I think I was in first grade at that moment. And I remember and that's how it started. My art teacher normally didn't taught both adults and children. However, for children, she did have an age limit. You had to be at least 9. I was 7.5.
Mm.
So my mom, that's the one thing my mom did do well, is she was very good about pushing things. So
Yeah.
Mrs. Joanne Gaquin saw something in my art. She saw potential. And so at 7 years old, she took me under her wing and started training me. And that's really how it started. So I was always an artist. I trained for years as a child. I was in studio art when I took my art elective my senior year of high school. Everyone was like, "You
Hmm.
need to do studio art," because I actually was like hesitant about like, "No, you need to do it." And then both my degrees are in the arts. Now, you can ask, how do you end up in a corporate field though? So like I said, I grew up in a dysfunctional family. I was the black sheep. I needed to make a living. I knew by the age of 10 I was going to live in New York. There was no doubt in my mind. And at 18, I was out the door in New York. And when it came closer to graduation, my parents made it clear if you want to live here, you need to figure it out. And
Wow.
so I had to figure it out. And honestly, as an artist, unfortunately, I wasn't surrounded by other artists that could help me see a path, or I was around artists that I could see a path beyond teaching an art class or becoming a professor. And again, those
Right.
are to become a professor of a college, you really do need a certain repertoire to be able to go into that. And
Oh, yeah.
honestly, teaching art classes is not a very lucrative way to make living. And
No.
so I kept falling into these corporate careers and hiding my art. And I'm also a dancer as well.
Mm.
And I danced for years as a kid, never thought I was good. And then in my mid 20s, like I've been wanting to get back in dance for a long time. And something happened that opened the door for me to get back into it. And I've been dancing nonstop ever since. Like I was just in the studio last night, always
Oh,
dancing,
that's so
always
cool.
practicing and whatnot. But I was hiding this second life while I was in the office during the day. And like I'd have my dance clothes in my bag and like, or be drawing later on at night when I got home from dance class. And the injury that's mentioned in my bio, I
Hmm.
was in ballet class and I was taking my last grande, which is a big leap. And when I landed, I thought the floor broke. It turns out it was me. I had ruptured my Achilles tendon. So because of
Ouch.
that, yeah. So
Uh,
because and when friends at at that time heard the story, they're like, "Of course you thought it was the floor. That's so typical you."
yeah.
I'm like, "The floor broke. The floor broke." And I took a step and I was like, "Oh wait, something's wrong with me." And but the reality is, as painful as it was, and the first thing I cried about on the examination table right after it happened was, I'm gonna miss my dance coaching next week. That's what I cried
Oh.
about because my coach was in town. Like I cried about missing my dances. I wasn't worried about how I was gonna get home. I wasn't worried about how I was gonna get to work, how I was gonna do my laundry. I was crying about my dance lessons. That was the very first
Oh
thing I
my
cried about.
goodness.
So that was
Yeah.
also a sign, like looking back on it, I realized that was like an indirect sign that something was about to shift. And the thing is as hard as that recovery was, as patient as I had to be, it did, I was strong enough in my healing journey to know I was being given a gift. And so I started that, for the first month when I was healing, I'm also a crocheter and knitter. So, you need to keep yourself busy. And I need to be
Right.
busy. So I was just crocheting all these loveys and stuffies, which I'd already been making. But I was like, let me finish up these projects. Let me find a new project. And a coworker of mine, I actually started getting an inkling earlier that week, maybe I could shift jobs. Maybe I could quit and find a new job and a job I really want and that's really fulfilling me to my maximum. And I swear to God, my friend came over that Saturday to visit me and said, "What are you doing? Look at you. You're a creative. Like you're a dancer, you're an artist, you're a designer, you're in the wrong slot." And
Mm-hmm.
I took his words were that nudge I needed. And so I
Mm-hmm.
did start working on my resume while I was in the boot. I did start meeting with people, and people would say, like, and I've seen a lot of people being gifted with medical leaves that are in full physical health that don't take advantage of that time. And that's the thing, that because I was on medical leave, the days were mine. And so I went on Facebook Messenger, I went on LinkedIn through my emails and just started reaching out to everyone I knew in all the communities. Could you meet for a coffee? Could we have a conversation? And all of those coffees led me to meet my career coach. And that's how I was able to really start my pivot. So fast
Mm-hmm.
forward to 2019, when I did get laid off, I was like, well, it's just a sign because you're already working on a pivot. It's not like it's coming from nowhere.
Right.
I
Right.
um I actually networked my way into an interview for a marketing position, which is what I wanted. Walk into one of those beautiful Park Avenue offices, right by Grand Central, and I was walking out of Pilates, like I am right now. Like I just finished Pilates a little while ago at my friend's studio. I was looking at Pilates and met the woman who was a managing director in HR at this financial firm on Park Avenue. And that's how my resume got in. And then I got this interview, and the interview went well. But then when I walked out, I had that moment, and it's a big part of your healing where you realize, wait, I realize, wait, if I get this job and I take it, I'm going to repeat the same pattern I've repeated with every job. I'm going to go into a job where I think I'm going to get promoted. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to be because I was an EA, an event planner. And I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you could say an EA, oh, you're just doing travel. No, 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 no. You're
Oh,
managing
that's
marketing schedules. You're reading energies. You have to figure out that person's personality in and out. My biggest joke is I could fill out their passport applications, like, and not just for one boss. I had like three or four bosses at a time.
yeah.
Majority of them, some I could even forge a signature for. Like I was that good. Like, I mean, I could fill out,
Oh yeah.
I filled out two of my boss's passport applications. I swear to God, I filled out 95% of it. I knew their wife's
Oh.
full names. I knew birthdays. I knew anniversaries. I had social security numbers. I mean, I could look at the marketing schedule and know who's going to get, like, this person's going to get set because of this. This one's going to get upset about this. Okay, this one's going to want this flight. This one's going to want that flight. Okay, this one is going to want their car at this time. This one, I'm going to go ask him his car because even though I'm going to choose the perfect time, he's still going to change it on me. Like you really
Right.
are becoming an expert at human energy.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
so reeling back from that tangent, I realized if I go here, because I was interviewed to be a marketing assistant,
Uh-huh.
I'm going to become another assistant.
Yeah.
And the odds I'm going to become the marketing point person are slim. I've been through this rodeo before. And when I did that, when I said that, I went back to my career coach and we talked it through because you don't want to burn a bridge. And
Right.
it was in that conversation of figuring out like the just in case parachute where I declare myself an entrepreneur and I've never looked back since. And it was scary. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh,
Um,
it is scary. It is a very scary step
yeah.
to, without assurances,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
take your life into your hands and
Mhm.
take a shot at your dream.
It is because there's not a healthcare package that comes with it. There's not a
Oh,
salary.
yeah,
There's
these
not
days
the
that's even more
bonus.
important.
Like all the
Yeah,
things that you get comfortable with when you're in a corporate setting, even if you're not making good money, you still get comfortable with that.
you
Oh,
still
like
get that.
you still get certain
Yes.
comforts.
Hmm.
And the biggest analogy I can give to that moment is I'm a huge Robert Redford fan. And if anyone's seen The Candidate, and if you know that last scene
I
where
do
Robert
not.
Redford, oh, it's such a good movie. I'm a huge Redford fan. I just love his. I was so sad when he passed away, but that's another
I
story.
know.
But another story. But at the end of that movie, there's a moment where it's him and the campaign manager. I forget the actor's name. He was the father in Everybody Loves Raymond. But anyways,
Yeah.
they are in the hotel room, and Robert Redford's character looks at him and the manager and says, "What now?" And I feel like that's what makes good storytelling so good is when it's translatable. But I imagine every entrepreneur, when they first realize and declare it and own it,
Uh-huh.
we all go through that moment that Robert Redford captures in that moment where you're like, what now?
Yeah.
Because there is no clear path. There is no, and if someone says they're an entrepreneur and there's like a guide, you're not an entrepreneur. You're basically copying a formula that already exists. That's not a real entrepreneur. An
Yeah.
entrepreneur has a blank wall and we're creating everything from scratch. That's very, very different. Like it's,
Very
you
different.
know.
Yes, it is. It is soup to
Yeah.
nuts. And
Yeah.
so you just decided, okay, I'm stepping into being an entrepreneur. What what did your what was your what now? Where did you
Yeah.
start?
That's a really great question. My whatchamacallit, sorry, I apologize. My phone would just dinged. I should have put it in my bag. I didn't mean to keep close to
I
me.
didn't even hear
Okay, good.
it.
I so I asked my coach, I actually asked my coach that question, my coach Matilda. I said, what now? And she said, well, we need to figure out your special sauce.
Yeah.
And luckily, and this kind of happens with all entrepreneurs, I feel like when you look back at it, there are signs we're going there. And when I got laid off from my job, even though I'd been on that career pivot for over like as almost a solid year at that point, I was also dabbling in the idea of having a side hustle. And I had two different ideas. And one of them was I work because I wanted to do branding. I thought that was going to be my path, is I was going to pivot into branding. And then eventually I was going to build a team and I was going to airlift it and create my own business because
Mm-hmm.
that's what I was on Wall Street. And that's what I've seen the Wall Street guys do. They build a strong team, they build a solid audience, and then they
Mm-hmm.
airlift it and they find a space in like a WeWork or Spaces or whatever it is, and start building from there. And so I thought, well, this isn't enough far reach because I was actually working out at a different Pilates studio then, and they were saying they wanted to build their social media presence. And I've always been a storyteller. And so I said, why don't I pitch you some ideas? And they liked it. So I was starting that. So I had this idea, well, maybe I should keep getting more clients because it's something I could do on the side, and whatnot, because I I am a visionary. Like I'm not, and I say this very clearly because I have a lot of marketing people in my network that do really amazing work. And I
Mm-hmm.
acknowledge there is types of marketing work that I don't do. Like I'm not an ads person. I'm not someone that can help you build followers like in a scientific way. I'm much
Right.
more a marketing relations person. I'm much
Mm-hmm.
more, let me observe the space and let me see what's happening. Like there are certain elements I innately see because there are certain structural elements for a business that need to be in place for in order to work. And a lot of times people don't talk about that. And I'm always like, how can you not see this? Like, how can you not see that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so that started. And the other piece that started is I had a friend at a time who also got laid off from the same firm. And she was a managing director. She was not a managing director, but she was a director.
Mm-hmm.
And she was extremely intelligent. And she was what you call a supervisory analyst. So she was the one that read the analyst reports before they got published to ensure they got within the
Gotcha.
guidelines. So
Yeah.
she had a
Okay.
very technical, really understood the nuts and bolts of an infrastructure of a classical business. So when she
Yeah.
saw my crochet character, she said, there's a business here. And I'm very good with action steps. And she gave me action steps. She's like, I need you to come back with this, this, and this. And I did. And she said, okay, we need to get your prices down. And I was able to get the prices down. She said, okay, now we're in business. So we
Mm-hmm.
started a website for me, among other things. So then I started going, then after I ever declared myself entrepreneur, I started pitching both ideas. And people kept grabbing towards the characters. And that's the other piece about building your business. You need to listen to what people are coming to you for.
Right.
It's this,
Absolutely.
it's this, I feel like in general with business, it's this marriage of where you need to give a piece of yourself to the audience, but you also do give a piece of what they want to. And that's
Hmm.
where the magic happens. And you really, and again, I'm not saying to listen to everything people say, because there are things people say you have to like really like swipe left
Yeah.
and
Get over
forget.
it.
Exactly. But I do feel you do have to keep your ears open and kind of train yourself to listen and not, but everyone could gravitate towards the characters. So I was like, I'm thinking, let me try this out. And literally I remember 2 weeks after I got that first lead where I realized I think this is where I need to go. I got a phone call from one of my family members saying that my mom was very ill. We weren't sure how ill she was. A couple
Mm,
of days later, I found out in a room of 14 doctors and nurses that my mom was stage 4 lung cancer. And a week later, we lost her. And the night I found out she was ill, I got this inner urge to file for my LLC for this idea of building a business around the characters. And the day she passed was the day I got the mail, first piece of mail addressed to my LLC. And that was the letter saying the LLC had been approved. And I knew it was a sign from her and my grandmother. So the reason why it's funny because I was sharing it before we started recording. My
yeah.
legal name is Kristina Lucia Andrews, but I use Pezza as my writing name. So the story behind my name is Lucia is my grandmother's name. My grandmother's name was Lucy, but she's a Lucia. And so I was named in honor of my grandmother. And we were extremely close. And there's no doubt in my mind that she's like with me all the time. And when mom passed, it took me a while to come to this realization, but I realized, like, from another writing friend, how beautiful it would be to have a pen name. And also, I felt like it was a nice way to include mom. So that way, it's me, grandma, and mom on every book, on everything I
Oh,
do. And the other funny
yeah.
piece, and my Italian American friends out there will know this. I can hear my mom's voice in my head, like, your grandmother first, your grandmother first. So, like, my
Oh.
grandmother's name appearing before my mom's name is like right on point with our family. It's kind of like a
Okay.
joke.
Yeah.
So that's how
So
I,
tell me about your books
oh, yes,
and how you
absolutely.
came up. I mean, what is the backbone? What are you trying to accomplish with the books?
Yes, absolutely. So the books are actually stem from my own healing journey. I realized in my healing that I didn't have, I had strong communication skills, but not for myself. And I realized the importance of communication. And I actually, even though I've always been very empathetic and I do have a very high level of sensitivity, which was
Mm-hmm.
always seen as a weakness. And what I realized is when I started
Oh
doing,
yeah.
yeah, and it's misconstrued because people see it as a weakness, but what they're not seeing is that it actually is a gift that needs to be nurtured and needs to be
Absolutely.
monitored, and so when I got into therapy, I realized I didn't know how to say how I was feeling. I could read how other people are feeling, but I couldn't read how I was feeling. And again,
Yeah.
either side of the coin, it's a problem. You have to know both. You have to know how you're feeling, but also the person is feeling. And so going through this healing journey and still being on it currently, because it is never ending, I realized
Mhm.
how revolutionary it is when you know how to communicate. And I
Yeah.
realized how I was able to connect with people by adjusting the tone of my voice or adjusting how I write an email or how I approach a situation or reading people's body signals. And so I felt it was very important to make that the mission of my brand. And when I discovered I was a writer, because the characters I create, they still exist in my brand. They've just evolved. They all still are there, but it's actually the realizing I was a writer and realizing I was destined to write this book. And because the characters led me to blogging, and the blogging led me to realize, wait, I'm a writer. Like, and I've been writing for years, but
Uh-huh.
the blog was the first time I wrote where it wasn't for a course. It wasn't for one of my parents. It wasn't for one of my bosses. It was just for me. Like, I'm out there in the sun. Like, it's me writing this. It's my ideas. It's me playing, and like I do it with my art and my dance too, but like
Yeah.
it was the glue I needed. And
Uh-huh.
so when I discovered that and I discovered my mission, everything just gelled together. And all of a sudden, the characters had a voice. These stuffed animals I create have a voice and whatnot. And the way I translate it to make it digestible for everybody is I've chosen skills and transitions that we all go through, and
Hmm.
how important it is to recognize the feelings, because it's so easy to forget how difficult it is learning to tie your shoe, how scary it is shifting rooms, even if it's just in a house, you
Oh,
know,
yeah. Yeah.
all of those things. And the beauty of this too with my books is I actually recently have really started developing. I mean, obviously the B2C lane is a lot more obvious. So I've been working on that and developing that. And I finally have developed this year a solid strategy that I'm really happy with. But because of that, because of developing that and also gaining further clarity, it also has given me the opportunity to start developing my B2B lane. So I've actually started,
Yes.
I'm actually in conversations with brands and working on sealing deals where brands are buying my books to give to their clients or to give to
Nice.
potential clients. And what we're doing is I'm writing a letter on behalf of the brand, linking the message of the books with the brand and showcasing. I'm speaking from the brand voice right now.
Yeah.
We believe in communication. We understand
Hmm.
transitions are hard. We value what you do on a daily basis. And we're also doing activities beyond the brand, because I do activities beyond the book. And just doing that. And the other thing, you're actually the first podcast I'm mentioning this on, so this is really exciting. I'm
Yay.
also I'm also in the process of developing my first corporate wellness program and getting ready to pitch that to corporations. And with that, I'm designing coloring hours for employees
Oh,
and
yes.
talking about the importance of taking a break, relaxing, tapping into our inner child, releasing that creativity. Because when we're creative, we're more productive. And
Yes.
in linking, and people are asking, well, how do your books fall into that? Well, the books are also included in those sessions so that people take the books home. Because the reality is, reading with your family, reading about communication in an organic way where it's through situations that we all go through, make it
Yes.
tangible and relatable. Because I could talk about communication till I'm blue in the face, but if I don't make digestible steps for my audience, if I don't make it accessible or relatable for them, it's going to kaput. And
Yes.
I'm not going to be servicing the people that are trusting me. And that's my job. I value your trust. And I'm going to do everything I can to make it relatable and welcoming. And the other piece of this too is I say this often. I did illustrate all my books. All my characters are animals. And I was very adamant about that because I wanted it to be relatable for everyone. I
Hmm.
wanted I wanted the younger parent generation to identify. I want the parents of my generation to identify with it, but I also want the men and women who are in the grandparent age to identify with it. And I am not hung up on all the things, on gender, on sexual orientation, on
Yeah.
religion, on nationalities. No, this is because this is the thread
This is
that
universal humanness.
exactly. And that's where
Right.
with brands too, when brands say, well, why? And they're not getting it. I'm like, because I'm here to help you showcase humanity to your clients. I'm here to show you really care. You're not just a financial advisor. You're not just the barista company that takes care of the coffee station in their schools. You care about what they do in that classroom. You care about what those
Right.
teachers do. I'm actually talking to a movie company right now as well.
Nice.
Because again, transitions are hard. Even if you're moving across town, it's difficult. And then when brands say to me, well, why not a book specifically about our brand? And obviously that's something I could do, but
Right.
I am starting off with what I have, like Bella's Big Girl Bed, Bella gets stressed, Bella learns to read, because the feelings that a child is going through learning to read a book or learning to tie your shoe are the same feelings
Hmm.
as a move. And the reality is children need the support. I'm using a move because I think that's a very tangible,
Yeah.
solid
Yeah.
example. Children need the support long after the move. So if yes, reading a book when they're moving might be helpful in the moment, but honestly, a more day-to-day scenario that they can relate about and that's more present and more
Hmm.
tangible. Because I also have that conversation because I'm also looking to work with veterans and people that
Hmm.
in armed services are currently serving because they're away from their families for so many months. And then you have to transition back into your family's dynamic and you have to catch up on all the things that happened while you're
Oh, yeah.
away. And I had a man that works for a veteran nonprofit that said to me, well, why don't you write a book about an Army or a Navy family? I said, yes, I could, but again, the
Yeah.
tangibility that of the day-to-day relatability is a lot stronger
Yeah.
than an actual like mom's away, dad's away, my older brother's away, my older sister's away. Like there's a lot more tangibility because the reality is, and I say this from a personal space, having lost my mom, you need to support so much longer after the transition, after the actual a moment a trauma occurred or a transition occurred. And also it comes out in daily moments. It comes out when you're going to brush your hair and all of a sudden like you see something. Like you see it when
Yeah.
you open a drawer and you realize your mom's never going to wear those clothes again. You know, you
Yeah.
just don't know when it's going to hit. And it does hit in the smallest, most intimate moments.
Right.
So that's
Right.
why as opposed to choosing really specific niche moments, I have chosen things that we do daily because it's those little moments where it does come out.
Yeah.
It's not those big crazy moments where you think, oh God, like this is what's going to happen kind of a thing.
So people can get your books and read about you on your website, or can they get them from Amazon? Tell me about where they can get in touch with you.
Yes, absolutely. So I do have my website is a great resource, www.kristinalucia.com. I have
Okay.
tons of resources. I have all my books and coloring books up there. I also have and the toys are there too. And obviously I want to build out the toy line further. We just manufactured the main character. So I'm excited to be
Oh,
able to build like it out further and like
and
to get
Bella
my
is an elephant, is that
she's an
correct?
elephant. Yeah, she's an
Oh,
elephant.
sweet.
Yeah.
Oh,
And I know I talk a lot about coloring, so I always have tons of coloring printables on my website that people can
oh, that's so
download.
much fun.
Yeah, I think that's really important because I think
Yeah.
coloring is it's a very accessible activity. It's something that we can all do while working on these skills because it has to be low stimulation. And I do have an email list, so I try to send out emails at least once a month. So, but yes, but my books are also on
Nice.
Amazon because I know people
Mhm.
like Amazon, so I'm totally cool with that too. So yes, all the things.
Terrific. Well, I thank you so much for sharing all of your inspiring discussions and about all of your learnings that you've had about changes and transitions and the real feelings that come along with that, and how literally organizations can take their brands and really, um, outside of all the niches, get to that base level humanity that we all share.
Yeah,
I love that. I love
absolutely.
that. Yes. So I have three questions that I like to ask at the end of my episodes. The first one is, if you could close your eyes just one moment. All right. In your mind's eye, what do you see when I say wise woman? And you can open your eyes and share.
I see a woman who is confident. I
Mm-hmm.
see a woman who radiates beauty, not because of her physical traits, but because of the aura and energy around her.
Mm-hmm.
I also see a woman who is open to the energies around her. And lastly, I see a woman who is not afraid to walk away from a situation that doesn't sit right with her.
There you go. That's probably the most important thing about being a wise woman is knowing when not to,
Yes.
or what
Yes.
doesn't belong in your space, you know.
I agree.
I
Yes.
love that. Okay, so my second question is, where do you like to roam?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, it's such a good question. Oh my gosh. Well, in NYC, particularly in NYC, I love roaming in the parks. Like I love Bryant Park. I love, which is a small one, but I also love Central Park. And my grandma's cousin worked and retired from the Botanical Gardens in the Bronx, so I go there a lot.
Oh,
Um,
beautiful.
Also, one of my guilty pleasures while I'm in New York, living here in New York, is sometimes during, if I need a coffee break, I'll go and get ice cream under the Brooklyn Bridge and then walk over the Brooklyn Bridge. And if you walk over at night, you have this beautiful view of the skyline. But I also love Europe. And so I'm a big
Yeah.
Paris girl. I go to Paris once a year. And so I love roaming everywhere around Paris. Montparnasse is one of my favorite
Mm,
neighborhoods. I
mm-hmm.
also love walking up the Champs-Élysées from like the Louvre all the way to the Arc de Triomphe, and all the parks, all the things. I'm also a big Italy girl. I go to Italy every year too, and like I everywhere I'm in Italy, I just love roaming. I just love,
Yeah.
especially old towns like in Barcelona. If anyone's been to Barcelona, Old Town, like I
Mm,
really just love to wander. Yeah, I try to go to at least Italy and Paris are my two main stops, but then I always loop in another country to in the longer trips. So I just love roaming. Like this summer, I was in Santorini before I went to the Puglia region in Italy, and both areas, both parts of that trip, I just wandered and wandered, and or just like laying on the beach with a good book. I mean, as a writer, I
yeah.
also love to read. And I know people, I actually get teased about, I'm like, that's so silly. I'm like, no, 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 no. I just let me,
Yeah.
I'm a writer. Trust me. Like, I need to read. It's very important for us to be fueled. And to me, a good day on the
Yeah.
beach, reading all day, it's perfect. It's
Oh, yeah.
great.
Sounds great. Oh, yeah.
Sign
You
me
mentioned
up.
a lot of my favorite places too. I haven't been to Paris, but it's on my list. So we'll get
Bella
there
goes to
eventually.
Paris. Bella
Oh,
goes to Paris. Yeah.
Bella.
Yeah, it was very important in the series. And I caught a lot of the icons. So if you ever get to check it out, like I promise you, it will make you want to go to Paris. Everyone reads
No,
that
I'm
book and is
sure.
like, I want to go to
I'm
Paris now.
sure. Oh. Okay, now I have a final question for you.
Okay.
Um, Final question. What is the biggest piece of wisdom that you've learned that you'd like to share with others?
There are no mistakes as long as you learn from them. There's that dialogue. Oh, you learn from your mistakes, you learn from your mistakes. And as someone that grew up in an environment where I was never allowed to make mistakes, you're not supposed to know how to do something right on the first try.
Right.
You have to do it a gazillion times. Like I think of myself as an artist, as a writer, as a dancer. I can't tell you how many blogs I wrote that never got published.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you right now, I wrote 10 stories in the first week after I declared myself a writer, and only one of them is getting published. And even that one was revised. Like, I'm writing my first young adult book
Mm-hmm.
right now, and I got a hook. I'm like, wait, I should be writing about it through Bella's eyes, not through a narrator. And so I actually am going to go back. Like, I'm halfway through, but I want to go back and just do a rewrite. I think it's going to help my writing energy. It's not bad because you have to do it in order to know. And also
Right.
to drawing Bella and her friends, these are the first characters even though I've been drawing since I was a kid, these are the first characters I've created from scratch. I draw all sorts of things. I draw
Mm-hmm.
architecture, I draw people, I draw landscapes, all the things. And
Mm-hmm.
again, when you draw for so many years, you kind of end up drawing everything. But I draw Disney characters, fashion, all things. Anyways, But when I draw Disney characters like fashion drawings, or even when I'm drawing my niece or nephew, there's a clear start and end because you have a respect to capture that person. You have a respect to create art, what that Disney artist did or what that fashion designer did. You have a respect.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're creating your own, you really have to figure it out. And I swear to God, I probably drew Bella a good couple hundred times before I felt confident. And I will say, the perfectionist in me, the overachiever in me, is like, let it be, because I clearly remember what book it was in my series. And I will say, like, I'm gonna spoiler alert, I will say it's like probably, I was probably, oh God, like over a third of the way in to illustrating and storyboarding that series, on top of like the illustrations that never came out, like
Uh-huh.
where I really felt confident. This is how I want my books to look. This is how I want the character to look. And granted, people love the drawings before I personally reached that moment,
Yeah.
but I purposely didn't go back and redo anything because I felt like I'd be a hypocrite if I didn't show the world, it wasn't open to showing the world the process and
The
wasn't open into
evolution.
seeing,
Yes.
because
That's
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah,
I love that.
yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, best of luck and
Yes.
best of blessings, everything your way. I think you have a great mission. I am really, really excited to be able to share it with the world. So anybody who wants to take a look at all of the beautiful Bella information, all the beautiful Bella transitions, if you will, and you want to talk a little bit about thinking about bringing your brand to humanity, to a human level, take a look at the website. It will be in the show notes. And thank you so much, Kristina, for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. It's really been a joy.
Great. Well, we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, thank
And guys,
you.
make sure you listen to the episode. Talk to you later. Bye. Julie Noonan here. Thank you so much for listening to Roaming with Restless Women. If you're a successful senior woman leader who would like to be on this program, please visit podcast.intuitivewisdomcoach.com. If you enjoyed this interview, please share this episode on social media and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. Your thumbs ups and reviews go a long way.